features in Word that'll make your life easier when you're doing papers that have templates. So the one thing is styles, and the other thing is cross-referencing and inserting captions. So first, let's look at styles. Up here in the styles, there are all these different styles, like head 1, head 2, that sort of thing. And I like to open the whole styles pane. So I'm going to click this. And it comes up here. You might have to stretch yours. Mine was just open a minute ago and I stretched it. And if I click in here, I can see that my current style of this part of the document is the title of the document. And it says what those font aspects are. It's got paragraph spacing above and below. It's got 12-point font. It's bold. And then here's the short title. Over here it says short title. And then here's a subtitle. It's got a subtitle style. And then here's the author's name. So this is an author's style. And then here's an author's affiliation with the affiliation style. And then here we have an abstract. And then we have these, different CSS concepts, keywords, reference format. All right, so all that stuff goes on. What's more typical is things like the introduction, and this is a head 1. So things that are going to be the most bold header are typically a heading 1 or head 1. And then this with the two levels of, 2 levels down, instead of 1, it's 1.2. That's a head 2. This is also a head 2 because it's 2 levels down. And then if we go in, let's see, here's some 3 levels down, 2.2.1. So now this is a head 3, right? And so if I want to go writing along in a document and I say, hey, I have something else to say, something else, then I can select this and say, I want this to be a head 2. And then it adds automatically a 1.4, and then I can start typing. Hello, this is interesting. Now, one thing you'll notice in this template is that in the paragraph right after a header, it's a style called post-head paragraph. Because in a lot of templates, the first paragraph after a heading is not indented, whereas the other paragraphs are just called para. Sometimes this is body text and no indent body, that sort of thing. So if I were going to do this right, I would need to select this paragraph and say change this to post-head paragraph, because the text doesn't really know if it's after a head. You have to tell it that. Okay, now, so I can do my headings that way. Now let's look at the figures. We're going to switch to cross-referencing. And by the way, back on the styles, you generally don't want to change these styles. If you were doing your own document, you can go in here and you can modify the fonts and all that for the styles. But you generally don't want to change the styles from a template. Okay, so now let's say we have a figure, and this is using a field. So what I did when I inserted this is let's do this. I'm going to take this figure here, and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it down here. Okay, there's a new version of it, and just to keep it apart, let's colorize it to be a green car. Okay, great. Now, if I have a new picture in my document, I'm going to go right-click, Insert Caption. And when I insert caption, is it a table or a figure? I'm like, this is not a table, this is a figure or an equation. And you notice the default is that for figures, the caption is below, and for tables, the caption is above. So we want a figure. And there's all sorts of other things you can do here, and it puts in this little thing. But now, I noticed in my template that I have a style called figure caption. So change it to this, figure caption, and say green car. And I'm gonna turned out that there's even a style for image format. So when I click image, it makes it center. Now notice for this, when I arrow over that 4, it turns gray. That's because it's a field. A field is like a variable in the middle of your Word doc. And this, figure 3, is a variable also, which means that if I suddenly decide I want to show the green car before I show the blue car, I'm just going to move it up here. And, okay, that got sloppy. Let me fix this. What I wanted to show is I'm going to take this, and what if I'm just going to move it like really high up in this document? I'll grab it here, I'm going to put it right there. Okay, now caption did not travel with it. How is that? Okay, I'm just going to do that and put it right here after it. Now that's interesting. Okay. My point was that it should automatically renumber. And aha, see this now goes figure 1, figure 2. When you tell Word you're going to print, it's like forcing it to get itself together and tidy up. So when you have things like you've rearranged the figure order or table order and you want the numbers to change, then you fake print, like pretend you're going to print but then cancel the print. The other way to do it is, I believe you can select all and right click. No, you can't do that anymore. They've removed that. All right, so I would recommend printing if you want to change that. Now the other thing about these fields is that then you can say things like, so let's go back to having a paragraph. I love green cars. C, and I wanted to say figure 2, but I don't want to type figure 2 because then it might change if I move it around. So I'm going to go insert cross-reference, and it's like, well, what are you going to cross-reference? I'm going to cross-reference a figure, and do I want the entire caption? No, I just want the label and number. I want this one, and I say insert. And so you see up here it's inserted figure 2. So now, if I take this text and cut it and put it above this thing up here, so now it should come before that picture, right? And so now, again, I want to force it to renumber, so I'm going to hit print. Now it says figure 1. And so now we've got figure 1 is a green car, and down here, my thing I just typed has changed to figure 1 because it is also a field. So that's the basics. You want to insert cross-references to tables. Where's my table? Here's a table, so the caption's on top. I've got a table caption style for my template, and if I mouse over that, that is a table variable. And so I can do, I think in this original template, I could say as an example, table 1, so I'm going to insert cross-reference. Now I'm going to do a table, not the entire caption, only one number, insert. Now table 1 shows all that. So if I suddenly duplicated this table and had 2 tables, then this would change to be table 2 accordingly. All right, that's the deal. Hope that helps.